It's Barbie with the Collier County Public Library here at the beautiful Vanderbilt Beach Branch. Happy February. Grab your coffee because it is early. I have some book suggestions for you celebrating libraries and reading. Remember, everything I talk about today is available on our website, collierlibrary.org. So, let's start with the power of reading. I'm going to start with this one, Tolstoy and the Purple Chair. Every day for 1 year, this author read an entire book, and then she posted a review on her website. Her reading journey began as a way to reconnect with her sister, who had died years earlier, and she decides that reading is going to help provide the healing she needs. And she also discovers that the answer to sorrow is to live, and live well. And to a reader, of course, that means books. And then I want to talk a little bit about this book, How Reading Changed My Life. This is an older book. It was actually written about 20 years ago. But it has a lot to say about the changes that technology has brought to our reading lives and what we may lose in our increasingly technological age. But it also brings up that often developments promote rather than eliminate what they are supposed to be superseding. So, we have definitely seen this with CDs and the rise again of vinyl. There is still an enormous interest in book clubs and all things literary. If you haven't read this author, Anna Quindlen, I definitely recommend her. What she does is think about women's lives, and that's what she does best. And she includes some great reading lists in this book. So if you are a reader that likes a list, this is definitely a book for you. My Reading Life. This is actually a book I've spoken about in another video. Pat Conroy was a successful author, and he was sometimes undervalued and as a storyteller. I have read and enjoyed him for many years, and yes, he does use overly emotional language, but his captivating narrative voice is second to none. And in this little but powerful book, he explores the role of books and book people in providing him encouragement and support. And to his credit, he does not venerate the authors that he references, but he's very clear-sighted. And this is a very loving tribute to writers and words and the people who bring them to us. So next, I'm going to feature some books that feature libraries and librarians prominently. I'm going to start with Something Wicked This Way Comes. It is a classic. Ray Bradbury is well known for his resonant choice of words, and I have always loved how a public library plays an important role in this story. Both the characters, Jim and Will, are library regulars, and the library really fuels their curious minds. And you ask anybody who works in a library, and they will tell you just how important your library regulars are. Did you know that Ray Bradbury, when he died, he actually willed his personal library to the public library in his hometown of Waukegan, Illinois? And this book, okay, this is sort of a forgotten novel, and it has stayed with me ever since I read it way back when it came out in the 90s, which is long before I worked in a library. The story centers around the world's tallest man and his relationship with the local librarian. And anyone who knows me knows I am not one to recommend a romance. But this book is just as good as anything I have read by Alice Hoffman or John Irving, and it's just as moving. The author was a librarian, and this book will really enlighten you on how librarians think and, the quirky corners of patrons' minds that we spend our days sort of peering into. And then we have this book, The Book of Speculation. The author of this book was asked to describe her book in one sentence, and this was her response. A librarian versus the sea versus his house versus his sister versus a curse. And that is a pretty perfect description. So if you're looking for something with an excellent narrative that covers magic and love and loss, I enjoyed it. I'm in. You would enjoy it also, I'm sure. I have had several requests for more books for kids and kids at heart. So here we go. First, I'm going to start with The Library Online. This book teaches more about friendship, kindness, learning from mistakes, and good behavior than any self-help book I know of. And Matilda, for me, the holy trinity of heroines from middle grade books is Pippi Longstocking, Harriet the Spy, and the one and only Matilda. Now you might ask me, what life lessons does Matilda impart? Well, important ones. Know your worth, read, and bad times don't last forever. It's the wisdom of someone so small, but so very powerful. In this book, this is the first book in a juvenile fiction series. It's based on the true story of Viviani Joffrey Fedler, who was really born in the New York Public Library on May 8th, 1917. And for those of us who have visited the New York Public Library or call that magnificent cathedral of words their home library, or just like libraries, this series is wonderful. Each chapter opens with a subject and the Dewey Decimal Number. Oh, my heart. I still haven't gotten over the fact that they've stopped teaching library science in schools. Just saying. These are my last books for you today. So obviously, there are many books that use books as a theme. And one of the best is this series. And the series is called The Cemetery of Forgotten Books. And it's about a secret place deep in the heart of Barcelona. From the opening line, I still remember the day my father took me to the Cemetery of Forgotten Books for the first time. You will be entranced. There are 4 books in this series. This is the order that they go in. I do suggest you read them in order. I cannot recommend these books enough. This is armchair travel at its very best. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for spending some time with me. Please leave your comments and suggestions at the email address on your screen. And join me next month when we celebrate Irish authors and music and films and all the things your library has to offer you. Did you know that February is Library Lovers Month? So if you can, visit your home library this month, and if you can't, download an item from your library or just open a book and read. I always like to end with a quote. So Matilda's strong young mind continued to grow, nurtured by the voices of all those authors who had sent their books out into the world like ships on the sea. These books gave Matilda a hopeful and comforting message. You are not alone. And that, of course, is from Roald Dahl's Matilda. Thank you.